What is it like to black out? Drugs, alcohol, medical issues, etc. It's like falling asleep while still awake. Happened 3 days ago. This is it perfectly. When you are laying down and you don't realize you fell asleep until you wake up. Except when you wake up from a blackout, usually your first thought is, how did I get here? Then what was the last thing I remember? Then you hear from friends that you were hugging lampposts and being funny. You have no memories of this. People often confuse a blackout with passing out. Oh no. When you black out, you are still physically awake, but your short-term memory is gone. If you are ever with someone and are worried they have blacked out, ask them a simple question you know that they can answer. Then wait a few minutes and ask them again. Wait a few minutes and ask them again. Then do it again and again. If they keep answering the question, they don't remember you have been asking it and they are blacked out. If they say, dude, you've already asked me this many times, they are not. The test of asking the same question is a really good idea. Can't believe I never thought of that. You did think of it, dude. Like 6 times. Whoa 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 whoa. For me, who has, regrettably, blacked out drinking, it doesn't really feel like anything. You wake up having no memory of a certain chunk of the night before. It kinda sucks, because the only way you can know for certain what happened is to see a video / some pictures. But those are always embarrassing. This, specifically, is why I don't drink large quantities of alcohol anymore. People who don't black out can sometimes act like they don't believe you. My boyfriend, a bartender, has never blacked out, and it took him years to see how troubling it was when I did, because I would have zero memory of entire parties, but people wouldn't think I was even that drunk. Dude, it's such a weird feeling, and it's extremely anxiety inducing, because you just wake up somewhere and you're immediately like, how the duck did I get here, and have to make sure you didn't make a complete fool of yourself in the process. Don't forget about wondering who you need to apologize to, / and feeling like you can never leave your house again and need to change your name and number, and then your friends say don't worry, you were fine. But the anxiety doesn't get better. You were still a functioning human, but no memory of what you said / did / how much, if a burden you were. And that feels sickening. Blackout drunk is the only one I've experienced. One moment you are enjoying yourself, the next you are waking up with little memory of what occurred over the last few hours. You have to talk to others to stitch together what you do remember and try to work out what you did. Then you say, I did what? Once they respond, you say OMG. Friend brought up Cowles Jr. Randomly the next day, I had to ask him why, as I don't like Cowles Jr. Apparently I was raving about how good Cowles Jr. is the night before. Reminds me of a roommate I used to have. He was the kind of guy that would go out once a week and come back straight goofy. Every time he'd come back, he'd ask me if we could go to Taco John's and ask me to make the room stop spinning. After the first time I told him how he was when he came back, he was absolutely appalled that he had even thought about wanting Taco John's. I miss that guy. They have good it's not gonna lie. I don't remember. No way. Same here. All this time I thought I was alone. Metu. A blackout is when your conscience goes into a witness protection program. Robin Williams. For those of you who don't know what that is, blacking out is when you drink so much that your brain goes to sleep, but your body gets all Eye of the Tiger and Soldiers on. John Mulaney. You ever drink so much you black out? Or as I like to call it, time travel. Dave Attell. Insomniac was such a ducking great show. I was never disappointed when I'd be up like channel surfing and Comedy Central had an Insomniac rerun on. Plot twist, Dave got sober and still ducking hysterical. Blacking out is like time traveling. Forward a bit and not fun. It can be fun sometimes. It's cool when everyone's recollection of a great night comes back slowly over separate fragments of stories from multiple people coming together to form the full picture, but can definitely have the opposite effect if the night was complete shit. I've only blacked out once while drinking, and everyone was telling me I had a great time. though I cold gotten must seriously hurt with some of the shit I was saying in a sketchy neighborhood late at night. Last thing I remember from that night was playing this card game with everyone, and the person dealing cards was explaining that if we talk during the game, we have to draw a card. More cards equals y or you lose the game. I just wanted to drink and play Smash, so my bright idea was to just keep talking until the whole deck was in my hand. Can't play if I have all the cards right. After getting the hand, I got a few nasty looks from the girl dealing cards, but I was diving back into my Jameson anyways. What kind of boring ass game limits talking while drinking? From John Mullany, for those of you who don't know what that is. Blacking out is when you drink so much that your brain goes to sleep, but your body gets all Eye of the Tiger and soldiers on. I'll tell you about blacking out. It was always weird when I'd go out for the night with like some money, and then black out and wake up with no money. It was even weirder, though, when I went out for the night with some money, black out, and wake up with more money. Because that means that I earned money. That means that I traded goods and or services, which is scary. Scary, but sometimes I'd almost be proud of it. You know, like, wow, I turned $20 into $100. I'm a financial wizard. Like, I would like to give people money advice now, but I don't know how that would go. You know, like they would just be like, John, we're looking to get rich quick. And I'd be like, well, have you tried mixing daiquiris with Ambien? They're like, does that work? I'm like, it didn't not work. Apostrophe. There have been a few times I've finished a night out with more money than I started with. Typically when everyone else is way more drunk and it's your turn to get the round. Everybody gives you a 20 for a beer and tells you to keep the change. These days we just take it in turns paying for the whole round because of that. Shitty and scary. You wake up not knowing how you got there. You try to remember the last thing you can and piece together what happened. You usually acted like a complete ducking asshole between then and waking up. Yep, I used to black out at my dealer's house a lot. I would wake up not knowing what happened. For me, I was never an asshole to people, but usually got taken advantage of. Sometimes I would wake up naked or just in my panties not knowing what he or his clients did to me. Jesus Christ. Women wake up in strange beds. Men wake up in jail. Source, have woken up in jail. Men also wake up in strange beds. Source, a male. Sometimes you spend 6 grand at a strip club and can't remember it the next take until you look at your credit card bill. Holy duck. I'm glad I'm way too much of a Scrooge to ever do that. Yup, even when ducked up, I'm like, hey guys, if we carry out it's cheaper than paying for delivery. Apostrophe. Right. Even when I'm crunk I'll do a spit take when the bartender tells me a shot/beer costs $10. No thanks. I can drink at home for cheaper. You're completely unaware of anything until you wake up and you're confused as hell. I found the most disorienting thing was that initially, I had zero sense of how much time had passed. 1 second, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, no clue, and it takes a little while to fully get your bearings. As it turned out, I only blacked out for about a minute, but during that time I still had enough time to have a dream. It felt like waking up from a deep sleep, but I had no idea about anything. That's how I feel when I take a nap. I wake up and have absolutely no idea how long I was out for. Shit, did I sleep into the next day? Is it just a few minutes later? Very weird feeling. I can imagine how scary/worrisome that would be if it wasn't sleep related. Video on. Video off. Video on again. Not fun. First off, you don't remember anything, so you can't enjoy it. Second, the other physical symptoms you experience like nausea and vomiting are unpleasant. Definitely not fun. I blacked out due to low blood pressure caused by chemo-induced anemia. I was standing in the bedroom, talking with my wife. She tells me it was as if someone hit my off switch mid-sentence and down I went. 911 was called, but I had somewhat recovered by the time they arrived. 2 units of whole blood later, and I felt much better. After that, my next several chemo sessions included 1 or 2 units of blood as well until my red blood cell count stayed high enough that I no longer needed it. That sounds brutal. Glad you are okay. I blacked out during in-home hemodialysis a few times and a few times at the in-center. It's scary as duck. And a few times I thought I was dying. Basically my vision would start to get black from the sides inward and you can't stand up. And your brain starts to go blank and your knees buckle under your weight if you're still standing. It freaked my wife out, and I woke up completely disoriented each time and completely drained. I also have been under anesthesia a bunch of times. It's way different. It feels like the time you missed never happened. Your brain's inner clock doesn't log it, as if you were asleep. Spot on description. I've never been able to describe why going under anesthesia feels different than sleeping. But you put it perfectly. Scientists think that anesthesia scrambles the connections between different parts of your brain. So each little part is still functioning normally, but can't communicate with the other parts. Everything gets out of sync and basically nothing gets done. You can't form memories or anything like that, because the memory part of your brain isn't getting anything from the sensory parts. I think scientists also found out what happens to me every time I try to sit down and study. If you do it enough, with alcohol, your friends start to slowly disappear. Edit, I'm sober now. And life is much happier. Holy hell did I feel that. Ditto. I got blackout drunk a few times in college. IDK. It's not like a specific feeling. You're just enjoying yourself one day, and then all of a sudden it's the next day and you're lying in bed with a sweaty stranger and your bra is missing for some reason. I'm sorry for you, homie. Waking up to the dread of 40+ notifications on your phone. Good lord. I remember this feeling of dread back in the day. I didn't even want to check my phone or social media. However, I've also woken up to job offers, dates, and great results from my blackouts from drinking in my 20s. I seem to get very confident and ambitious when I black out. Sometimes, it really worked out, but I don't suggest it. Random number. Hey bro, great to meet you last night. Can't wait to continue our conversation from last night. Great things on the horizon. Second random number. Better hope I don't see you around, bitch. 10 missed calls from GF. 3 texts. Where are you? Are you coming home? Don't wake me up when you come in. 3 more missed calls, phone battery 2%. Someone told me that I should experience it. Reading comments, I'm not convinced. I've blacked out exactly once. It's not really necessary. It's exactly like being regular drunk, except you don't get to hold on to all the fun memories. And it's a little scary because you don't remember how you got from your last memory to waking up. I've also never met anyone who acts differently in a fun way or has a better time when they transition between regular drunk and blackout drunk. They're either exactly the same, and no one knows they're blacked out, or they're sloppy and barely awake, so you need to babysit them. Being sober or drinking moderately is preferable. This is by far the best description here. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.